Ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted you've been able to join us for this webinar, which today shares the experience of master's degree courses from Manchester and from Swansea. We have two teams presenting today. From Manchester, we have Dr. Matt Sperrin, and he's going to introduce himself and his colleagues. And then we'll move on to Swansea. Matt, over to you.
Hi, I'm Dr. Matt Sperrin. I'm a senior lecturer in health data science with a background in statistics. I'm the program director of the MSc Health Data Science that we run here in Manchester. And with me, I have two colleagues. I have Dr. Juhi Gupta, who is a lecturer in health data science at the University of Manchester as well. She's the Deputy Programme Director of the MSc. I also have Sean Bladon, who is representing as a former student on the programme, but is also now working in the university.
That's lovely. Thanks, Matt. And then on Swansea, in the south of Wales, we've got Judy. Judy Jenkins is Senior Lecturer in Health Data Science. Please, Judy, can you introduce yourself and your team?
Thank you, Angus. My name is Judy Jenkins, and I'm the Programme Director for the MSc in Health Informatics. With me today, I have Dr. Sarika Mohan, who's a lecturer in health informatics. I have Alex Paget-Rodriguez, who is also a lecturer in health informatics, and I have Dr. Ifeanyi Anyanwu, who is a recent graduate of the course.
Well, thank you all for joining us. Also hiding in the background is David Wright, who is one of our directors, and he's sitting there just making sure everything goes smoothly. Thank you, David, for being in the background. I'd now like to pass over to Matt Sperrin to kick off, and he's going to tell us all about the informatics course in Manchester, how it works, and we're going to hand over to a presentation of a PowerPoint from Matt.
Thank you, Angus. So I've just shared my screen. So I'm going to talk to you today about the Health Data Science MSc. Again, we've got the people that I just introduced just shown there again. Okay, so I'll just start off with a bit of background. So what is health data science? So this is something that's quite hard to define, I think, and everyone has their own definition. But I would define it as these four aspects in no particular order. So we have data engineering, which is all about how do we get data out of systems, out of hospitals and other parts of healthcare and other kinds of data, and get it from its sort of natural state so that it's ready for us to conduct analysis. Second, we have math, statistics and machine learning. So how do we do something with that data to learn something new? Third is around visualization and storytelling. So given that we can gain all these insights from our data, how do we convert that into a message that's pitched at the appropriate level and palatable to ensure that we can have impact in healthcare with the data? And fourth, and certainly not the least important of these, is health domain expertise. So what differentiates this from data science is that health data scientists need a firm understanding of how healthcare system works, and in particular, how data are collected in healthcare, how informatics of healthcare works, etc. So who is this course for? So the MSc Health Data Science is for individuals who are looking to gain in-depth and a practical knowledge of health data science. So we recruit students from quite a wide range of backgrounds. So the first group of individuals is mathematicians, statisticians, computer scientists, so people with, I suppose would have the specialist expertise in the maths, statistics, machine learning, AI domain, but can use this course to both enhance those skills, but also upskill in the other aspects of health data science. We also recruit scientists more generally, so that includes, people with a background in biology or physics, as well as engineers. Third, we recruit clinicians and healthcare professionals. Here, perhaps the important thing to say is that for a health data science course, we're looking for clinicians and healthcare professionals with some sort of evidence of an enhanced interest and expertise in quantitative areas such as maths, statistics, etc. We can talk more later about exactly what we mean by that. We recruit from the finance and economics, accounting, and also importantly, we recruit individuals who are working in informatics, analytics, and data science roles in healthcare who are looking to gain depth in the area. So importantly, this is a full-time course. We have in the past offered a part-time pathway, but from the next year, we're focusing exclusively on a full-time course in person at the university. So this would be a full-time commitment that requires that if you like, a sort of interruption to whatever else you're doing to take this particular program. So this is just a bit more detail on some of the areas that you'd look to develop your knowledge and skills in. So health information systems and technology. So that's just getting this broad understanding of how everything works. Analysing healthcare data. Of course, we have a focus on ethics and governance issues around health data, which is extremely important in this domain, given that we're commonly dealing with individual level patient data. Statistical and machine learning models, as we've mentioned, detailed understanding of the healthcare context. So not just the systems and technologies, but also the wider sort of human factors and what healthcare is all about. We also have a strong clinical and biology, so the sort of basic science aspects, the omics, the genomics, proteomics, etc. And then the more generic skills that you would expect from an MSc, so teamwork, working in interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary teams, and of course communication and influencing skills. And of course that's not an exhaustive list. So course overview. So again, so just more comments on the skills and knowledge. So learning how to interpret healthcare data and using it to help solve healthcare delivery and other healthcare challenges. Gaining experience of using key technical software for handling health data. So thinking here of tools like Python and R. So some level of learning how to program statistically. Not be a software engineer, but get your hands dirty with learning how to manipulate data. And applying these skills across a range of disciplines. So we have aspects in imaging, statistics, machine learning, etc. Okay, so the work that we do, we use authentic assessment as much as we can. So in other words, the assignments are relevant to real-world applications. This is sort of hinting at that we're a research active organisation, so there's a strong focus on research within the group that are teaching. So it's a research-led teaching experience. So we regularly update the course with the cutting edge of our own research and those of others. And of course, we sit within the Centre of Health Informatics at the University of Manchester. So you have access to all of our facilities. So as I mentioned, the course delivery it's an in-person course, but we use blended learning. So some of our learning material is online, but we do have face-to-face sessions throughout the week, and students are typically expected to be on campus throughout the year with a mixture of self-directed learning as well and group work. In terms of assessment, we have quite a wide range of assessments. We sort of assess right throughout the year. This includes written assignments, essays, more sort of problem-solving type assignments in the maths and statistics domains. We use sprints, for example, in the data engineering domain, so solving problems in groups. We do also have some elements of exams, but we don't rely very heavily on exams in this programme. So just to give an overview of the structure of the course, so semester 1, which runs from September to January, covers 4 core units that give the basics of health data science. In semester 2, there's a choice of 4 units out of 9 that it can be sort of tailored to each student's interest. And then in semester 3, running from June to September, students focus on a substantive dissertation. So just in a bit more detail, breaking down each one of those. So the compulsory units cover introduction to health data science, which is quite broadly around the sort of systems and technologies and visualizations and things like this. Introduction to programming, which covers lots of the data engineering side. Fundamentals of maths and statistics, where we cover the fundamentals of maths and statistics, so basics of probability and things like regression modeling, and statistical modeling and inference, which takes that a bit further into more advanced statistical techniques. So as you can see, this is a course with a strong focus on the statistical and the modeling components with those 2 core units. And then semester 2, so choose 4 from 10. So yeah, so sorry, I said 9. It is it. So the reason for this is because we're in the process of we're adding a new unit for next year, and so it will be 10 from next year. And this is just to give an idea of the flavour of the different kinds of units that we'll have. So more advanced statistics, digital epidemiology, where we cover things like wearable technology, so health informatics, with this being a data science rather than a health informatics course. There's a sort of optional focus there on health informatics. Machine learning and advanced data methods, which, as you can imagine, is a very popular optional unit these days. We also have a strand to multi-omics for healthcare, covering your genomics, proteomics, clinical bioinformatics along similar lines, randomized controlled trials. And then we have a unit on imaging. And then the last 2 units, which actually overlap with the health informatics program that we run jointly with UCL, decision support systems and the digital transformation project, which are more, I suppose the digital transformation project in particular is like a sort of capstone unit that brings everything else together. So just to focus on the dissertation module, so I guess it's similar to how dissertations would run on any MSc, but with the emphasis being on conducting some original research in the discipline. So it's an opportunity to apply your newly gained skills to a substantive problem and learn new skills along the way in one sort of more narrow area than the rest of the MSc. There is potential to publish for students that are interested in that and have the sort of desire to take that forward. A lot of our dissertations are collaborations with external industrial partners and particularly local NHS trusts in Manchester. We do provide dissertation options for students to choose from, but some students do prefer to come up with their own projects. So briefly on career opportunities, I mean, there's obviously a wide range of careers and a huge demand for students with these kind of skills. But this is just broadly speaking the areas that our students go on to. So public sector roles in the NHS, analysts, what's often now data science units in NHS trusts. Lots of our students go into the private sector and industry as data scientists, particularly pharmaceutical companies, for example, given the background in health data science and other related areas. And a fair number of our students do stay in academia as well, undertake PhDs or get involved in other roles of that sort, so like clinical trials units. We have a strong focus throughout the programme on careers seminars and workshops, and we bring in guest speakers and alumni and etc. for that. So that's, I think, everything that I wanted to cover in the presentation. Hopefully I've left some time for discussion. And I'll just flash up this slide that in terms of admissions, the main point of contact is here, but you can also check the course website, which you could either type in that URL or just Google University of Manchester Health Data Science, and that will come up. So in terms of deadlines, we run a staged admissions process, and the final stage does close on the 7th of June, so very soon. But particularly for home students, we will accept applications after that date. So that's the end of the presentation. So thank you, and looking forward to the discussion.
So the take-home message is 7th of June is the closing date, but a little bit of flexibility for home students, which is great. Now, I'd like to ask you, Matt, about whether your university accepts previously completed modules from other universities or other university courses. Are they considered by your university to make the student's life a little bit easier if they've already done some modular modules in other universities?
Indeed, yeah. So we do have a process for this called accreditation of prior learning. So we follow a sort of standard rule across the university that we can accredit up to, it's essentially up to a third of the MSc. So essentially you could replace the equivalent of one semester with prior learning. Obviously, this is all on a case-by-case basis. We'd have to look quite carefully at what those units were and work it all out on an individual basis for students. But yes, we do have that process, and this does come up, and we're very happy to do that.
I think that is important because part-time learning now has almost become the norm. People are doing teaching on their own with modules, and making sure that they pick up education from different sources. So that is good to hear. I think you've covered my other questions. I'm slightly unclear, however, about the proportion of doctors who come into your course. It seems to me this is more of a science orientated course rather than a medical orientated course. But that's not a criticism. I'm just trying to make it clear to the audience.
So proportion-wise, it's probably, it's sort of hard to say, but it's maybe about 80-20. So we do have quite a leaning towards people with what you describe as a scientific background, but we do have a number of both medics and people in other sort of professional roles in the NHS, whether that's allied health professionals. But you're right, so for clinicians who don't have a sort of specific interest in wanting to go reasonably deep on the statistics and the machine learning, then there are other courses that are more suitable. So probably like the health informatics course that Judy will present later. But this is a real appeal to a growing number, I think, of medics who are interested in really getting to grips with AI on quite a deep level. So not just sort of understanding, not being able to sort of read a paper and understand the application, but really being able to roll up the sleeves and get involved with coding their own AI models.
If I can move over to Juhi, you're a lecturer on the course. What's your background, and why did you decide to become a lecturer on this course, Juhi?
Thank you. So my background is in genetics pharmacology. So I worked with biological data sets as well as health data. So my background's slightly different from Matt's, actually, who's much more mathematical and statistical. But I think that's one of the attractive points about working on this course, is that we are all from very different subject backgrounds, and therefore we give this different views and different skill sets to this course when we train our students.
Yeah.
That was one of the points that attracted me to this course and why I enjoy being a lecturer on this course.
So you're more of a scientist working, having already got your degree. What was your first degree in?
Genetics, biological sciences.
In genetics. Yeah. That's lovely. Now, Sean, you've very kindly come along as an ex-student on the course. Tell me about your background and why you chose to do this course.
So my undergraduate degree was in pharmacology, so a bit more similar to Dewey and coming from a biomedical science background. After I'd finished my undergraduate, I worked in for healthcare infection prevention, so more sort of microbiology, for a couple of years. So that was mainly doing lab-based research, but decided that wasn't for me and kind of wanted to do something that was more data focused. So that's how I decided to go back to university and do the masters.
And how did you find going back to do a master's? Did you find it difficult, a bit of a pain? Did it involve you having to completely refocus your life?
Yeah, probably after a few years of working in industry, it was a bit different to go back to university. And I think the way that the master's programme is taught was quite different to undergraduate. So that was mainly lectures and exam based, whereas the master's was a lot more independent learning, and we didn't have any exams. It was all assessments. So definitely a bit of a change, I think. And I because I've come from a more lab-based background, I've never done any programming or coding before, so there was a bit of a learning curve there.
You learned Python during the course, did you?
But yeah, I learned that during the course. Yeah.
Right, Matt. Anything else you want to add in relation to the course? Have you got a unique selling point for this course? Best course in the world?
Well, so of course it is the best course in the world, but I think to me what's unique about this course is that we really cover the whole spectrum of what health data science is. So yeah, there are a lot of health data science courses out there, but I think I'd like to think that ours is the broadest in terms of the perspective it takes. So in terms of going right through from how are data generated, how do we wrangle that data into an analysis-ready form, how do we do the machine learning and AI bit, how do we communicate the findings back, but then also the stuff that Dewey was talking about, that we have this omics and basic biology pathway as well, so that you have that sort of window into things too. So yeah, so to me that's the real strength of this course, that it's just so comprehensive.
Lovely, thanks very much. And just to go back to Sean, I think it's useful for students to understand that there is quite a difference between your first degree, where it is predominantly taught, and it's sort of a halfway house between school and a PhD, and your MSc, where you are actually expected to go and find the information a bit yourself, much more so than with your first graduate course. So you've identified this big difference between your first graduate course and your master's degree course. You are not taught everything in the master's degree course. You are told where you can get the information, then you go off, find it and study it. And that's a very important differentiation between basic graduate qualification and a master's degree qualification, and it gives you additional skills. So, lovely presentations, thanks very much. We're going to leave you now and go to the south of Wales. So, I'd like now to hand over to Judy Jenkins, Senior Lecturer, Health Data Science at Swansea. And if you'd like to give us your presentation, Judy, and then we'll chat with your colleagues after you've told us about your course.
Okay, thank you, Angus. As Professor Wallace has just said, my name is Judy Jenkins, and I'm the Programme Director for the MSc in Health Informatics here in Swansea University Medical School. For those of you who are watching the presentation and are not really sure about what health informatics is, I'm going to give you a very simple definition. It's what we call the 3 R's. It's the art and science of getting the right information to the right people at the right time. So when anybody asks what you do and you say, I'm a health informatician, and they look bewildered, because health informatics is a hidden discipline. If you tell people you're a doctor or a nurse or a dentist, people have an understanding and a knowledge of what those rules and what those discipline involves. If you tell somebody that you're a health informatician, it's highly likely that they will nod, and then 30 seconds later they will say, so what is that? And for the layperson, that's probably a simple and easy definition to remember. It's the art and science of getting the right information to the right people at the right time. We could describe it as being the intersection of health information management, computer science, and social sciences. So the first question you might be asking yourself is, where is Swansea? If you think of Wales as being a lovely, comfy armchair, some of you who follow football, or more importantly, the national game of Wales rugby, Swansea is located in the southwest, just at the end of the M4 corridor. It's a famous historical city, and it's situated in one of the most beautiful coasts in the world. We're not far from a protected area of outstanding natural beauty. For those of you who surf, there are fantastic beaches just up the road, but I can't eulogise over that. I will leave that to the Tourist Board of Wales to tell you just how beautiful it is to live here. It's only 3 hours from London. We have excellent transport links to all areas of the UK, and you can get here quite easily by bus, train, flying carpet, whatever is your preferred mode of transport. Our university itself was founded in 1920, so whilst not quite as old as Manchester University, we're still pretty old, and we've recently celebrated our centenary. We are a research-led institution with a 50% world-leading rate excellence, with 16,000 students from 120 countries, with 22% of our student body composed of international students. So you see that we've got a dynamic mix. And you can see from the picture that you can see here, this is our Singleton campus, which shows you its close location to the beach. So in a break between lectures, you can take your picnic lunch, grab 20 minutes on the beach for a quick paddle, and then be back in time for your next lecture to start. As I've already mentioned, Swansea is just on the tip of the Gower Peninsula. It's an area of outstanding national beauty, and our campus is within easy reach of the city centre. If you're a walker, it's a good stretch of the legs for 2 kilometres. If not, there's a range of transport solutions for you to get to the university, including our own bus system, which is owned by the university, which facilitates access to the campus from all of the student villages and from all of the student locations as well. We also have a brand new campus. This is situated on the outskirts of Swansea, and it's got an even closer proximity to the beach there. The new campus is a recent build. It's still not quite finished, but it has a range of state-of-the-art facilities which students who are on the Singleton campus will have access to. So there's single study rooms, you can hire a student study pod with access to facilities such as Zoom within those pods, and the library there as well, which is open to students on all courses and all campuses. Swansea City itself is vibrant. It's got a population of around 230 citizens. It's the second largest city in Wales. We've got shopping malls, historic markets selling world-famous lava bread. We've got a variety of restaurants, so if you are in the mood for a curry or a Thai or good old fish and chips, Swansea is your place if food is important to you. We've got a beautiful maritime quarter and a 250 million development on the seafront. Now, I'm not saying this because I'm trying to sell Swansea City to you. I'm just trying to illustrate one of the reasons why Swansea is a good choice if you're thinking about doing health informatics. We've also got the impressive Liberty Stadium, which is home to our Ospreys. Am I right that they are the rugby club?
That's correct.
Yes,
Yeah.
I don't want to get mixed up between the wrong shaped balls here, guys. it's an offence in Wales to do that. All right, but it's also, the stadium's also host to venues for acts. So you might take that there one week, you might get another world famous band. I'm too old to remember any of the bands now, so, but most importantly, Swansea was voted most friendly city in Wales, and we still hold that honour and that title. So a little bit about our background as a medical school. We were formally founded in 2004, so we are celebrating our 20th anniversary this year. We are home to the Graduate Entry Medicine Scheme, so that's an accelerated clinical degree scheme. So students with prior backgrounds, prior degree can apply for our 4-year programme where you start on day one in a white coat and a stethoscope hitting the wards. Our own particular course is part of the Institute of Life Sciences. And usually our funding at the moment is over 100 million in research funding. Those, the life sciences, we do a variety of research which tallies in with Juhi's background, genomics. We have leading research in COVID. We supplied Wales with all of the data relating to COVID in Wales, which was the basis of COVID policy. So you can see the relationship that we have with the Institute of Life Sciences. We are still growing. We are growing both in capacity as a course and in terms of the buildings and where we live. And I'll show you some pictures of those in a moment. We consistently rate high in terms of satisfaction for both research and the student experience. If you're thinking about where to go, you want to know and understand what other students think and feel about the programme. And our research and student experience rating relate to satisfaction with the taught material, with the quality of the lecturers themselves, the teaching material, and the environment and the atmosphere in which that's conducted. Most important as well is our student support, but I'll talk to you a little bit about that later. It's one of the cheapest places in the UK to live. Right? It was ranked third by the Times Higher Education as a cheap place for students to live. So if you're a full-time student, you can save your pennies by coming here. If you're a part-time student and wanting to travel, accommodation is reasonable and cheap with easy access. What you can see here is a picture of the data science building, and this is where we're talking to you today from the data science building. It's the newest building on campus. Our suite of offices is on the first floor. It's part of the FAR Institute, and we're one of the 4 centres of excellence in the UK for health data science. We are home to the SAIL health database, and SAIL is the Secure Anonymised Information Linkage Database, where we have anonymised data that relates to all patient episodes of care in Wales and further afield. We have a dedicated health informatics centre within the data science building, and that was purpose built. Now, the picture I'm going to show you is one of our student common areas, so we might use that for seminars or for group tutorials. It's a very relaxed, nice area to be in. Another picture showing the diversity of the range of students in one of our smaller seminar rooms on campus. But that gives you an idea of the facilities that are available to the students, right? Our own particular programme, we're very well established. We've run it since 2001, so we're now 23 years old. It has a hands-on and practical orientation focus, and I'll talk to you about the modules and the content of those, so you'll get an idea and understanding of what they are and how we assess you in those in a little while. We have a multidisciplinary student base. Our students come from all walks of life. They come from all backgrounds and from all educational qualifications and backgrounds. So you might be sitting next to somebody who's a doctor or a dentist or a biologist or a pharmacist, somebody who works in medical and health records, somebody who is a clinical coder, somebody who is from the UK, somebody who is from Saudi Arabia, somebody who is from India, somebody who is from Nigeria. We really are a diverse bunch of people, and our ethos is that we welcome each and every one of you because that we believe we all learn from each other. Your learning is just about as much about learning from each other as you learn from what is happening on the course. I've mentioned that we have hospital and industry connections. Now, we can literally see one of the hospitals from the window of this building. It's probably about 400 feet from where we are. And the benefit of having those connections is that we are able to call on the expertise of people who work in both the NHS and healthcare and industry to guide and help shape our course according to what current trends are in digital health and care, but also to contribute as lecturers within the programme. So in that way, we're ensuring that we have a diverse range of lecturers and that their expertise is being used. We have excellent student support structures. We recognise that students may come to us without having done a first degree, and that can be hard. It can be daunting. You're suddenly in the milieu of people who've got degrees, who are doctors, and you might be a little bit frightened and scared. You might be thinking, what am I doing here? Why am I doing this? Don't worry, we can help and support you. I myself started my career in academia later on in life compared to most people, and I understand the needs and wants of students who are facing the daunting prospect of suddenly having to become an academic and doing research. So we have excellent support structures in place. Our own staff are highly experienced in supporting and teaching both international and UK staff, and it's one of the areas that we score highly in our student evaluation. Our course is available as a one-year full-time study. You start in September and then finish the September, and you can do that as a UK or as an overseas student, not an issue. We also have a 3-year part-time option where you will study 3 modules in year 1, 3 modules in year 2, and your final year is the dissertation module. This is only suitable for students who are UK. It's not suitable for our overseas students because of visa restrictions. The 3-year part-time option fits well for people who are working in full-time employment. It's no less easy than the full-time option of 1 year, but it does afford you the opportunity to do it on a part-time basis and to fit your studies in around full-time work. It's a modular structure, as I've said. 6 modules and the dissertation. If you're a full-time student, you'll do those 6 modules in your year, and the dissertation, which you'll start working on whilst you're still doing your modules, so that you understand and know the research process, so that when your taught modules are finished, you're ready to hit the ground running to do your dissertation. We have innovative assessment modes. For one of the modules, you might be required to design and test a health informatics solution to a problem that you've identified. So you might be creating an app. You might be creating a dashboard of data for use to see how outpatients is being managed. Alongside that, we have more traditional academic essays, the more straightforward, because that allows you then, as a student, to showcase your own abilities in a variety of settings. Right? We will help you with all of those. There is help and support available for all of those. Right? You will have a dedicated academic mentor. You'll have a named mentor as your supervisor. They will be experienced in your domain, and they will also be experienced in helping you as a student. And that doesn't matter if you've already got a degree or if you're coming to us as a new straight from work student. You will also have a dedicated dissertation supervisor. They also will be experts in the field that you will choose. The teaching team are all highly qualified, experienced, and most importantly, enthusiastic about the discipline. Now, I've been doing it a long time, and I'm still excited by each intake of the new students that we have, because what gives me the greatest pleasure is seeing all of our students who've worked so hard graduate. I think I'm probably about as proud as students' mums and dads and families as they walk across the stage as the students themselves. So let's take a brief look at our modules. The first one is an introduction to health informatics, and this is where we lay the foundations of the programme. We reintroduce the topic, we check understanding, and we start to introduce academic writing and research skills in this module. So it's a general overview. It's an opportunity for students to settle in and get used to it. And we cover things like information governance, privacy, confidentiality, and we start looking at ethics involved in health informatics. Module 2 is communications and clinical coding. So we look at electronic health records, clinical coding, how those two things fit together, and the underpinning skills that are needed to be able to communicate effectively, both in healthcare and as a health informatician. Module 3 is use of secondary health data. This is where we look at how we use data that was originally intended for one purpose to be reused. Module 4 is systems and technologies. This is a challenging module for students because this is the one where students produce a portfolio of evidence to support the design and creation of a health informatics product that they themselves have come up with. Yeah. 5 is knowledge management. Currently, our assessment method for this is the creation and presentation of a Tableau dashboard. So students are expected to find and source a data set that's related to health and then defend the creation of that to a presentation panel. 601 is our health informatics research module. Here, students, we have an intensive week-long module where we look at the skills needed to undertake research in healthcare. 603 is our new module. It was an old module that we've just resurrected, and this is leadership in healthcare project management. This is reflecting the needs of what's actually happening in healthcare now. We're needing more people who have project management qualifications and emerging as leaders. So this has another practical aspect to it. 701 is the dissertation module. That's the research dissertation module. There's also 703, which is the dissertation module that's allied with 603. So they are different modules with different dissertations. So for 703, students aren't doing primary research, they will be doing research that relates to how they would lead a project and then defending that in an academic way. In terms of our admission requirements, we require applicants to have a good honours degree, which is equivalent to those GPAs of 2.44, 3 out of 5, or a minimum of 2.2 in a good honours degree. Or if you're applying to us as a non-graduate, we would like to see equivalent experience at a fairly senior level working in healthcare, 2 or 3 years, and that's something that you would evidence in your application. So you do need healthcare experience to come along, but that healthcare experience can be judged in your application. So it doesn't matter if you've got a first degree in geography and then have been working in healthcare, as long as you're able to evidence that within your application, it will be judged on that. If you're an overseas student, you'll need Yelp score of 6.5 or 6 minimum in each category to be eligible. Our closing date for applications, if you are a UK student, is late on in the academic year. I believe that it's the 18th of September. Right, so that's quite late on, but that's if you are a UK student. And we guarantee to turn our applications around. You'll get a decision from us within 2 weeks if you are applying. For overseas students, you will need to apply earlier on in the year because of applying for visas and CAS, and the closing date for that is very similar to the one from Manchester, towards the end of June, very early July. So the message that we would give to you is get all your paperwork ready, get as much done before you apply so that you've got your paperwork ready to expedite your admission process. A good application is vital. Admissions tutors are looking for you to tell us why you want to do this course. Make it personal to you, right? Avoid using AI, we can spot it. Right? We will know if you've used ChatGPT. We want to see why you think this course is important to you and why Swansea is a good fit for you as well. Our attendance modes, our courses are delivered in a weekly taught block. So you will start on a Monday and end on a Friday. This allows yourself to immerse yourself completely in the topic and to get to know your classmates, which is really important. It's also beneficial if you are a UK student applying for study leave. Right? In our experience, employers would prefer to give you a week-long block of study leave than study leave in 2 hours here, 2 hours there, because what they're more likely to do, if you are away in Swansea, you are away from the work environment, and that week is protected for you as a student. Our experience and our research shows that the 2 hours a week doesn't work particularly well for our students because your employer is far more likely to say to you, we need you in work on Wednesday, you can catch up. And we want to protect your time as a student. Usually 9 to 5 each day. On a Friday, we'll try and finish around midday, 1 o'clock, because by then you'll have itchy feet wanting to get down to the beach with your surfboard. Our teaching sessions are mandatory and attendance is expected to be 100%. All of our teaching is face-to-face. It is supplemented via independent self-directed learning on our virtual learning, our Canvas, it's called Canvas website. And we also monitor attendance. That's vital for our overseas students for visa purposes. You need to prepare before you study for an MSc, even if you've done a first degree. So make sure you understand the discipline. Make sure you understand the difference between health informatics and health data science. They're two very different disciplines, although there is some crossover between them. Yeah? Familiarise yourself with the UK if you're not from here. It can be a bit of a culture shock to suddenly realise that people say hello to you in the street, or everybody in the UK talks about the weather. All right, but we're pretty good at understanding cultural expectations of all our other students. So take time to familiarise yourself with what happens in the UK. Do research about the course that you want to do, not just ours, but others, to make sure that they are suitable for you and they are meeting your needs as an individual. Make sure you have sufficient finances to cover your time. My advice is that if you're an overseas student, working and studying is not a good combination, but we do realise that for a significant number of students, it is difficult to avoid not working. And we're cognizant of that as well. If you're a UK applicant, make sure you can get study leave from your employer. My advice is ask for 3 times what you like and hope that they give you a third, which is what you really wanted in the first place. Okay, so prepare. Take some time to familiarise yourself with the requirements for writing at master's level. Even if you have a first degree, master's level is it's BSc on speed, and it's a short, condensed, mostly self-directed learning. We call it the iceberg approach. We introduce you to the top bit, and a lot of it is you going away to discover, guided and supported by your academic mentors. Be prepared to be prepared, right? Doing an M-level degree can be hard and challenging, and you will need to be resilient. One of our course mantras is that you will read and read until your eyes bleed. The format of this is sort of a university challenge, and when you hear the candidates on University Challenge, they will say, my name is Professor Angus Wallace, and I'm reading for a degree in, right? Degrees are about reading, so you read and read until your eyes bleed. Do a skills audit. What skills do I currently possess? How can I prepare myself before I get there to make sure that I am going to be giving the best and hitting the ground, right? What skills do I need in order to do well? Right? The course is research-based. Now, when I say it's research-based, what I mean is that you are expected to read a lot of research articles. Yeah, and if you're doing the research module, you'll be reading a lot of articles, so expect to read a lot, right? Some of you may not understand, if you're coming to us from a background where you haven't done a first degree, you need to understand what academic integrity is. You may not be familiar with what it is, but it's a process whereby all universities will ensure that the work that you submit is entirely your own. And that way you maintain your own standards, the university maintain their integrity as an institution, and your reputational integrity is held. But don't worry, we will teach you, we will tell you about what to do, how to avoid it. You will get lots of sessions to help you prepare on that. There's a link to avoiding academic misconduct. The fee structure for 24-25 is UK students. If you're coming to us as a full-time one-year student, it's 9,150. International students is 20,800. UK students is part-time, £3,050 a year. We do have some bursaries and scholarships available. You have to apply for those, and you have to meet certain criteria for those. There's further details of the course, the programme itself there, and fee structures, and a little bit more about course delivery. We have 2 start dates for our programmes, one in September and one in January 2024. So we have 2 intakes. The January 2025. The January 2025 intake is only suitable for overseas students. So if you're a UK student, you would have to start in September 2024 or September 2025. As I've said, all teaching is face-to-face. The latest enrolment, and that's different from application date, is the 2nd of October or the 15th of January. Okay, so I think we've covered that, so we'll move on to our next slide because I'm mindful. We've touched on employment. We work very closely with the Swansea Education Academy. We have our employability team will come and spend half a day with you. talking to you about your career opportunities. So much of it, though, depends on your own skills and background and set. But we will help you as much as possible to direct you into how you can apply for jobs. We will help you structure a cover letter. We do pretend interviews so that you can get used to answering questions from employers. But importantly as well, we involve the NHS and business in that employability day. So they will tell you themselves what they are looking for in terms of graduate students in their particular areas and fields. Okay, a little bit of pre-reading for you, and I'm happy to answer any questions. I understand, Agnes, that you are likely to ask questions now.
Well, I do have some questions.
Okay.
So first of all, Judy, if you are doing your course and you have a module teaching block, which is a week in Swansea, where do you live?
Where do you live?
Yeah.
Right. If you're a student coming, most of our students will you can get a travel lodge very cheaply. Some students get together and hire a cottage or an Airbnb. There is accommodation available on campus, but that's harder to get. So most students just stay in a travel lodge, Premier Inn, and their employer will usually pay for that as part of their leave application for their study leave. But we are remarkably cheap. You can get a guest house on the seafront for less than £20 a night, which includes breakfast. So it's reasonably priced.
That's lovely. Now, as I asked for Manchester, does your university accept previously completed modules from its own or other universities?
We do, and similar to the reply given by Matt, a lot of that is based on the degree that's been taken, the level, so it would have to be a same level of study degree, and the relationship to our curriculum. They would have to demonstrate that their previous learning ties in with the learning outcomes for ours, but for sure, yeah. We also accept intercalated students. You might not be familiar with what that is, but intercalated students are students who are taking a year out from doing their medical degree. And they are given the opportunity in that year to do a domain relevant degree. So we recruit for that as well.
Now, you mentioned that you do accept some candidates onto your course who don't have a first degree.
That's correct. Yes.
What proportion of your candidates are they?
It year on year it will depend, but in any class we may have, without a first degree, we may have 30%.
Yeah.
Because some students may have an HND, or they may have a bachelor's degree from a university that we wouldn't classify as a bachelor's degree, or they may have no academic experience at all. They may have, one of the old NVQs, and that then will depend on their work experience and their the application that they made. Interestingly enough, we find that students who come to us without a first degree, because of their lack of first degree, are far more likely to graduate.
Really?
Because, yes, they are committed to it. It's their chance to show. Yeah.
Can I now go to your team members and get them to just mention their role, their commitment, why they're with you today? Dr. Sarika Mohan. Sarika, just give us a little bit of a summary of why are you sitting there watching us?
Sure. Hi everyone. My name is Sarika. My background is dentistry. So I practiced for 4 years as a dentist, a general dentist in India. And I pursued my master's in health informatics last year. I graduated and I've entered straight into academia because my goal is to obtain a PhD and I'd like to pursue that at the same time. Yes, so I've recently joined the teaching team and it's been 2 weeks, and having Judy as my boss is the dream job.
PhD is hard work, really hard work. Good luck.
Oh, thank you.
Dr. Alex Rodriguez, Paget Rodriguez. Alex.
Hi, I'm Alex. I'm not a doctor. I've got to point that out on the onset.
Not yet.
Not yet. So my background is actually in mental health nursing. I qualified as a mental health nurse, moved on into a variety of inpatient, outpatient roles, and working in therapies, eventually leading into management roles in the private sector. Following that, I moved into teaching undergraduate nursing, and from that moved on very recently to join Judy's team over here. I suppose you would say, given my experiences and the combination of what I'm interested in versus my frustrations out there in the sort of in the field, if you like, has led me to come where I am today, based on the influence we can have out there on the industry and the reputation and the sort of competitive nature of and the real reputation that the course has got over here in health informatics.
Mental health nursing is sorely in need of developing its informatics, and the integration of the electronic patient record into mental health care seems to be a real challenge at the moment. Did you find that in your practice?
Yes, and I must say, perhaps horrifyingly, my most recent form of medical record handling was paper notes. It's one of the many frustrations that sort of led me to be where I am today. Yeah, very much the case. It very much needs investment, and part of the education and the change that needs to come comes from a course like ours, I think.
I think one of the problems that we have is that the people who run healthcare, the boards that are running healthcare, don't quite realize that you've got to integrate the electronic patient records. You can't just get one for mental health, one for general practice, one for the hospital, and expect them all to speak to each other. They don't. And that's become a real issue. Anyway, I'd like to now move on to Ifeanyi. And I have no idea how to pronounce your name. So can you just tell me?
My name is Ifunanya, and when you're lost on how to pronounce it, it means love.
Oh, Ifunanya.
Yeah.
Great, lovely. Right, tell us about yourself.
Ifunanya is a medical doctor, and I've practiced for 6 to 7 years before coming to doing my master's. While doing that, I got into the field via the public health, via the third sector. And working in public health got me to prune my data analysis skill and also get certified as a project manager. Having this thing, okay.
Continue.
All right, having this is one as a medical doctor, two, one that understands data analysis and also a certified project manager makes me understand that the healthcare system is really transforming into something beyond what we used to know. And if we must keep at pace with contemporary changes that are coming into the technology, the management and everything, I need enough knowledge beyond just following the numerical interpretation of data, beyond just management and beyond my clinical knowledge to be able to get all these things. So that was what got me into looking for where will I integrate these things, where will I join everything together and be able to make a formal understanding of what I know so far into the health system.
So were you working in public health during the COVID pandemic?
I did. I faced COVID face to face. I did In my state, back home in Nigeria, I was the frontline person for collecting samples from suspected persons, especially those who recently traveled in. I'll collect the samples, and we don't have much testing place. So I'll collect the samples, package them, and send them back home, and then I'll record the data. I kept recording the data, and I was the focal person alone for my state. So the human resource was a case, but I think the biggest case there was tracking the data and being able to follow up with it. In fact, it's one of my starting point of the frustration that we need to get something right.
Lovely. Wonderful experience, terrible pandemic. But it's good that you are now building your life around improving what you can deliver in the future. So that's excellent. Judy, is there anything you want to add before we finish?
Just two things. One of which is that if you're looking for our programme, our name will be changing soon from Health Informatics to Digital Health and Care, in brackets Health Informatics, to reflect what's happening currently. Most importantly, I think it's a question that you asked Matt about our unique selling point. I would say that it's the direct applicability of the knowledge gained on the programme directly to healthcare, because we want to see, as Alex has just said, that difference made so that students take the knowledge, the theories, they're able to take it into healthcare, and it doesn't matter whether it's the UK, Nigeria, India, Saudi, you are making a difference to healthcare with the ultimate aim of improving patients' lives by using digital technology and features.
Well, I don't want to boast too much, but if you look at our logo up there, we beat you.
I know.
Matt, have you any final comments before we close?
Yeah, just to say, I think this has been a really nice contrast between these two programs. They're very different, so hopefully people watching this should have a sense of, you know, which of these two programs is right for them, and that would help them in terms of exploring, you know, the programs beyond that, health data science and health informatics.
Well, I'd like to close by thanking all the participants, both from Manchester and from Swansea. We do appreciate you giving your time to join us, to the preparation that you've done for this webinar. I think it has come over very well indeed, and I'm delighted to have been able to chair it for you and allow you to tell us all about your different courses. Thank you very much indeed. We are really grateful to you for the information you provided. Well done.
Thank you. And bye to our colleagues in Manchester.
Thank you. Bye, Swansea.